Gothic Writing. Medieval glossing is the practice of adding words to the text in order to explain or comment on what is said in it. This may be anything from a single word to an entire passage. What you may find in a gloss can range from commentary to interpretation or even simply relevant quotations from the text of some authority like St. Jerome or one of the other church fathers. Marginal and interlinear glosses are sometimes accidentally or intentionally incorporated into the main text. Scriptura continua is a script in which words run together in a continuous line of writing uninterrupted by punctuation marks. It is quite common in monumental inscriptions and ancient manuscripts. Occasionally, raised points or full stops were used to separate one word from another to make it easier to read the text. It is not that the spaces were omitted or left out, as though this was some sort of stylistic innovation, but that the writers of these documents and inscriptions were engaged in the making of text in ways that did not happen to incorporate the word separation, which brings us to word spacing. Some very early manuscripts almost totally lacked punctuation. In majuscule scripts, there is no distinguishing feature of the letter at the beginning of a sentence. The words may run continuously without breaks, and there may be no punctuation marks employed. These texts were essentially designed for reading aloud, and phrasing could be indicated by leaving spaces of variable size between words at strategic places or by the number of words to the line. The spaces represented points for pausing and oral delivery rather than indicating the grammatical construction of the text. As word spacing evolved, so did punctuation. Punctuation are marks used to indicate the structure of a text and to clarify what has been written. Punctuation makes it easier for the reader to know when to stop or pause, or when a section is complete. Spacing and capitalization are often used to strengthen the effect of punctuation marks. One such punctuation mark is the punctus, which is a point, also the basis of other symbols used in punctuation. It is often raised above the baseline, and there are various configurations of the punctus as seen here. It can be used in combination with what we now refer to as a comma-shaped marking. Shown here we have the punctus versus, the raised punctus, and the punctus elevatus. The abbreviations devised by early Christians are known as the nomina sacra, for the various names and titles of the deity. Seen here are the nomina sacra abbreviations for De, Deo, and Deus. A nomina sacrum consists of two or more letters from the original word spanned by an overline, as seen in these three examples. There are three main categories of abbreviations: suspensions, contractions, and abbreviation symbols. Generally speaking, deluxe manuscripts use fewer abbreviations, especially texts of the Bible and of the most famous Latin authors. Also, until the 7th century, only a limited range of abbreviations was commonly used. The great proliferation of abbreviated forms is associated with the rise of the university and the need to produce text quickly and to get as much onto a folio as possible in order to make the manuscripts affordable to students. A ligature is when two or more letters are connected in such a way as to modify the form of one or more of them. The term is sometimes loosely used to describe a stroke joining two letters together, linking them. Medieval scribes who wrote in Latin increased their writing speed by combining letters and also through abbreviations. Gothic Textura Quadrata is a very high-quality script. This script indicates not so much the shape of the letters as to the diamond-shaped feet of the minims. Rapid, legible writing was at the base of the formation of Gothic script. Word spacing is distinguished, sentences are properly punctuated, and each new sentence begins on a new line with a decorated box capital letter. Capital letters took on the form of Roman square capitals or uncio letters with the extensions of the rounded vertical strokes. These strokes were also broadened at the top or bottom for vertical strokes and at the widest point for rounded strokes. For ligatures in Gothic scripts, the fusing of continuous letters are called biting curves. Punctuation in these scripts were utilized in a very literal fashion, noting the end of sentences using markings such as the raised punctus. While letters written in Gothic Textura Quadrata generally have feet on the base of minims, created by a horizontal ending stroke once the pen has reached the baseline. Sin pedibus indicates that the letters do not have such feet. Gothic textura precisus vel sin pedibus is a Gothic script that appears to be woven and is very precise in strokes and lacks feet. Gothic textura precisus vel sin pedibus also often does not reach the baseline. Gothic littera bastarda is a much more cursive variety of script from this period than the textualis or textura style. The point of developing it was to allow for more space on the manuscript page and to save time for the writer. The goal was to produce an imitation of the textura script that did not take as much time to produce as the formal mode. The pen, in the case of littera bastarda, would not be lifted, hence much of the cursive flowing quality that is so immediately visible. This script is characterized by exaggerated vertical ascenders and overextension of strokes on letters throughout the text. This is also prominent in cadils utilized in this script. Conjoins, similar to ligatures, are formed when letters combine or are connected. This is evident in ampersands. They act as a convenient mark for the scribe to create quick legible text. Letters can be completed, conjoined, or can merely be touching. Ascenders and descenders are typically exaggerated in this type of script, frequently connecting to the letters that precede and follow. Looping flourishes can also be seen in this type of script. Spacing between words and sentences are evident, with punctuation used to note the end of sentences. As in other Gothic scripts, littera bastarda also uses the biting curves in the ligatures and conjoins in the text. Cadils are a calligraphic decoration that extends the ascending or descending strokes of the letters, usually utilized in the first or last lines of a page. Sometimes images of human or animal heads are used with the decorative stroke extensions.